welcome to another episode of Earning the Hate. How you going, people? Man, I keep going over these cops jumping in front of cars and claiming fear of my life and killing people. It is just an epidemic in the police community. I cannot believe there's not more outrage. Here's another incident. I'm going to do a separate video on this one, but I want to cover this video is about the guy that just got sent to prison for doing that shit. But here we go. So, he jumps out of his car, opens the door, gets in front of the car, stands in the lane, car misses him, drives around him, and he opens up and fires multiple rounds as the car goes by. Perfect. And everybody's, well, the guy should have stopped and he should have followed. Just one of the there's just so many of these videos. Another video, unarmed female running because she got no plate. Had some mental issues evidently. Scared of the cops. Cop puts the car in park, gets out of the car and shoots her as she drives by, claims, I thought she was going to hit me, even though she steers around him. Multiple rounds. DA ruled justified. Cop was in fear. I can't prove he wasn't in fear, therefore he was in fear. I'm telling you, if citizens ran around and shot every car that drove by them fast, they would be in prison. Well, this cop did go to prison.
Pawtucket police officer shot an 18-year-old in the arm in West Greenwich. She's now facing felony charges for it. As we've reported, the shooting happened moments after what you see here. Officer Daniel Dolan is in the white truck. The victim is in the sedan with his two friends.
Off-duty cop. Mr. I'm in charge. I'm the police. This car was speeding. He thought he had to jump into action. Now remember, cops in uniform can show up and walk away from a woman calling for help on domestic violence when a guy's got a gun and leave her. And there's no duty to protect. This cop has become so empowered and emboldened that when he's off duty, he's running around chasing cars, speeding, jumping out, flashing a badge, and he ends up shooting this car. They don't show the shooting.
Friends. And new tonight, we're learning through court documents more about what each driver says happened leading.
Okay, so the shooting happens out of place. This is the only video that they got. Is the car pulls in. He walks around to the driver's side door, tells the guy to get out. The kid drives off. I think it's a 17 or 18-year-old kid. And he shoots him in the neck because he disrespected his authority. And he's a policeman. And he was in fear of his life. Now, I tried to find these charging documents, and I looked everywhere for some reason. You know, somebody's going to post a link in the comments later. If I read it and I find something really interesting, then I'll go over it. But I really tried to look, and I found a lot of other videos on this. But she said they went over the documents. No news agency, they get the full documents, and they just tell you, pick bits and pieces on what they want to tell you. And they don't give you the source document anymore. It used to be you could have a source and they would put a link. Then you could open it and read it yourself. Come to your own conclusion. But the corrupt left-wing media has figured out that when we do that, they can tell we're lying. So it's better if we just tell them what the document says and then don't give them access to the document. Just freaking our corrupt media.
Well, Shannon, for the first time, we're learning why Dolan says he pulled over in the first place to reportedly try and detain the driver of that black sedan. And according to what he told authorities, he saw that sedan speeding and thought maybe it was in a police pursuit.
So he's off duty, he sees the car speeding and immediately thinks he's in a police pursuit. Doesn't see any cops. No one told him it was in a pursuit, but he's just a keenly donut hypersensitive guy that figures out, hey, car speeding must be in a police pursuit. Freaking crazy.
Although he admits he didn't see any police at the time following it.
Now that this case has been charged, it's a serious case. There are 4 felony charges.
Moments before what you see here, Pawtucket police officer Daniel Dolan told authorities he saw a black Audi sedan driving at a, quote, high rate of speed on 95. He also claims it was in the breakdown lane at one point, passing 2 cars. According to documents, though, at least one passenger in the sedan denies that ever happened. Dolan says that behavior led him to believe the sedan was involved in a high-speed pursuit with police, but he never saw one, so he kept driving. The documents say Dolan told authorities he lost sight of the car, but then sees it again and eventually pulls over with...
Okay, so I want you to listen to what they just said here, people. This cop, in his statement, said he was driving crazy, passing on the right lane, passing cars, and he thought he was being chased. He was driving so fast. And then suddenly, the officer catches up with him again. How did that happen? Nobody wants to cover that the officer was off duty in his car with no lights and siren, not covered by Code 3, driving like a maniac chasing this guy. But we don't want to talk about that, because that might make the Blue Line heroes look bad.
Fit at the parking lot of a local business. What happens next is what you see in this video. It appears Dolan shows his badge and then follows the car.
That under the circumstances and under the facts as we've determined them, I believe that his actions were not justified.
In the police reports, Dolan admits to shooting at the car, hitting the driver of the sedan, 18-year-old Dominic Vincent. Dolan told police he did so because he thought the car would run him over. Vincent says Dolan was clearly to the side of him when he shot and not in front of the vehicle.
Everybody's innocent until proven guilty, and the officer will have his opportunity to explain that in court.
12 News' law enforcement analyst Stephen O'Donnell was once the superintendent of the Rhode Island State Police. He says while off-duty officers do have the power to take action in extreme situations, according to this new information, there was no clear signs that warranted that.
Police are trained not to get involved in things unless they are life and death. So if someone's speeding down the highway, I don't mean...
And again, let's be clear here, people. Cops are not required to do this. They choose to do it. They make a choice. This cop was going to kill this kid, shot through his driver's side window, which means he was beside him, and kill this kid because he saw him speeding and he thought he might be in a pursuit, and he thought that warranted a death penalty case. Cops are killing people left and right, saying the car's a weapon, it can hurt you. He was smoking and the cigarette's a weapon, it could have poked me in the eye, and he's filling up his car with gas and he could squirt me and it could hurt me, and he was carrying a baseball bat at a baseball game and he could hit me in the head, so I was in fear. It's just getting absurd.
To minimize that, but it's really not your purview as an off-duty policeman.
And the officer in question, Daniel Dolan, is now suspended without pay. Pawtucket's police chief was also at that press conference today, but denied commenting on the case due to the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights.
So the reason why the chief wouldn't comment on the Bill of Rights is peace officers have a right to be judged by the leading law enforcement authority, which is usually the chief or the sheriff. So the chief and the sheriff cannot appear to make a judgment on an employee until he has all the facts. So cops have won because chiefs and sheriffs have gone out there and go, this is absolutely ridiculous. We're doing an investigation, but I can tell you right now, this guy's going to be fired. And then they can't be fired because the chief made his determination before he had all the facts. Therefore, it gives them a chance to argue, I didn't have a chance and this wasn't a fair trial, because the chief had already made up his mind before he even heard the facts. So that's why you'll hear this chiefs refusing to comment stuff. So here's the footage before and after the shooting, but again, most of it's out of sight. This camera, you can tell, it's got the black over here and the black over here. Somebody's filming it off a screen because it's a multiple screen at a pizza joint. So this is a pizza joint here that the kids say they're going to pull in and get some pizza. And then here comes Billy Bob. I'm a police officer. I'm going to shoot you because I think you're speeding. Does anybody think this cop is in fear of his life right here? Do you think he's concerned about his safety? Do you think that he didn't want to leave his car because he was off duty and didn't have a uniform and he was just trying to help? Or do you think he got out of his car and showed his badge like, I'm invincible, and if you do anything, I'll just shoot you? You be the judge. Kid obviously scared, backs away. Here, the cop somehow, again, we can't see this, gets around to the passenger or the driver's side and then shoots through the window. After he shoots him, he runs back to his car. Somebody opens the pizza door here, And now you're going to see the cop, after he shoots, runs to get back. Because after he shoots, the guy still drives off. So this guy, he's already shot somebody. He shot somebody because they were speeding, because they disrespected his authority, because he showed them his badge, and he's God. And I'll get into his history here in a minute. Then he jumps back in his car, and he chases them further. Almost getting an accident when he backs out into the flow of traffic. Traffic's coming by. Cars have to go around him, probably slamming on the brakes, endangering the public. All in the name of keeping a speeder safe. All right. And, of course, the lawyer for the cop is saying he was trying to preserve life. He was keeping people safe, chasing a guy 100 miles an hour in his personal car. Never called 911, never tried to get a marked unit there, just figured he would chase him and badge him and exert his power. Wow, the blue line, the heroes. Rick, this is an isolated incident. Why are you picking? Okay, whatever. June 23rd. Oh, they always try to minimize the cop's action by saying the cop called the police or called the ambulance afterwards. Oh, rendered medical assistance. Isn't that nice? Chased a guy down and shot him for speeding. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He was in fear of his life. They said that, let's see, the investigator gathered footage. Their analysis of the video determined Vincent's Audi was speeding at an exit at about 125 miles an hour. So this is the police saying the Audi was going 125 miles an hour. Okay, for you people that aren't familiar with physics or how speeding cars and how cops work, if a car is going 125, the car chasing it and catching it is going faster than 125. I know that's hard to grasp, you liberals out there with your education about what bathroom to use and all the other important shit you learn in school. But if a car is going 125, the cop and his truck that's chasing it has to go faster in order to catch it. Okay? The analysis turning Audi averaged about 110. Well, then if it averaged 110, then the cop averaged 110 or more for keeping up. No, Rick, this is an isolated incident. Why are you picking on the police? Why are you making the police look bad, Rick? Well, okay, whatever. Dolan, the cop, said that he thought the car was involved in a crime or pursuit. Well, wonderful. Now we can just think you're involved in a crime. I can chase you and then think you're going to run me over and then I can shoot you. Wow. Man, don't you guys feel safe? Shot him in the arm with a .40 caliber bullet. Let's see here. In the documents, it says the police department this guy worked for says off-duty officers are to immediately report criminal activity to on-duty officers and may not make an arrest solely on an enforcement of minor traffic violations. Now we're going to argue whether or not this was minor and whether he thought it was minor, and it was minor, but then he tried to run me over, so that's major, and now it's not a traffic violation because he tried to run me over, and now we have assault with a deadly vehicle. I mean, I can't believe all the idiots coming on the last two comments on these videos where I'm covering these cops shooting people saying, it was a deadly weapon, they're not unarmed, they got a car. So everybody with a car is a potential target for police because we have a weapon. Now they're going to want gun control and backgrounds for cars. So Dolan served 10 years in the Marines. Gee, that's chucker. Prior to that, follow my rules. Yes, sir. No, sir. You better respect me or I'll make you do push-ups, you freaking dirty commie, pinko, pesky citizen. In the city where he works, residents have complained about Dolan's conduct in the past to the chief and the mayor about this cop's donut. In 2009, Captain O'Malley, Dolan threatened a man with jail if he didn't reveal his name, and then forcibly arrested a woman minutes later because they respected his badge and his authority. In another case, in July of 2019, an incident erupted in Columbia Avenue where a crew was working on a utility pole. A neighbor objected to the crew blocking the driveway and then became angry when it appeared Dolan wasn't going to do enough, according to the police report. Dolan said the man bumped him with his chest in an attempt to place handcuffs on him. Dolan reported he punched the man in the face 3 to 5 times because he bumped him in his chest. Rick, only cops should have guns because they have backgrounds and we only hire the best and they're... Come on, people. And in this article, it says officials announced Thursday that the Pawtucket police officer Daniel Dolan, a school resource officer, let me tell you, no cop worth his salt is going to work school resource officer. That's just not a job that a real cop wants. But anyway, member of the neighborhood response unit was charged with multiple felony counts. Off-duty shooting of 18-year-old Vincent on whatever, Dolan's scene community cleanup. So the AG is charging this guy, I think it's the AG, 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon. Good. He fired at a guy, resulting in serious bodily injury. 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon. 1 count of discharge of firearm while committing a crime of violence resulting in injury. So they're definitely charging this cop. And this DA ain't playing around with cops running around shooting people in his county. Good for him. So in the report and the charging documents, it says, according to Howe, which is one of the witnesses, I guess, Dolan never rendered assistance to Vincent. Instead, he was screaming at his brother, who was trying to help him and telling him to move away from him. So typical cop, I shot a guy. I don't want anybody else helping or moving him or I'll shoot you too. Screaming like a maniac in the middle of the road off duty because he saw a car speeding, chased him down, and then said he tried to run him over. Oh, man. Man, this cop's a hero for sure. Here's a little part. I read one of the articles that they gave Dolan and he passed a breathalyzer test, and they were like making this a big deal, the media, but they didn't put any information about why did they give him a breathalyzer test. And I went, oh, maybe it was just a cop being a good cop and doing what he should do. No. Dolan told investigators he got off work on June at 7:40 p.m. and drove to the liquor store, purchased a 6-pack of beer, saying he took a sip of one before continuing to drive home. That means he got a 6-pack and he opened and he was drinking a beer when he was chasing this guy. That's what that means, people. He said he saw Vincent's black Audi speeding down the highway and thought he might be in a high-speed pursuit with police because I was drinking, and therefore I thought he was running. Despite not seeing any officers chasing him, and then followed him. Vincent was going 125 and 110 average, but the officer just followed him off the highway into a parking lot. The officer passed a field sobriety test and had a blood alcohol of 0.000. Dolan is scheduled to be arraigned. So not only was he using a firearm, but he was drinking. I mean, look, this cop's a hero. I'm sorry. Okay, Dolan, you're a hero, and you're picking up trash with your gun on. Man, it's really nice of you, protecting and serving us like this. Appreciate it. So when I'm looking for the documents, I'm coming up with all these other documents when I'm searching this guy's name about he was a Hudson police officer, Dan. And in this complaint, what did he do? Inflict emotional distress, pending before the court. I forgot what this was. Hang on. Oh, so this is where Dolan got in an argument with one of his neighbors about something, and then he told him that he would arrest them or to stay away from him or something. Harboring ill feelings, he claims. The day after the cross-examination of Dolan, the Hudson police sent a letter instructing him not to have any contact with Dolan or his wife, threatening to arrest if he violated that directive. More than 2 years later, say defendants the retaliatory promises. I don't know. So this was one that I found. Then I found another Dolan. I forgot what this one was for. Convicted of operating a vehicle under the influence. And again, I don't know if this is the same guy. But this cop just seems like a pretty outstanding guy. I mean, you know, he's out there trying to protect us. Shit, cars are trying to run him over. Rick, he had to shoot him. He was in fear of his life. Guy had a weapon. He was driving a car. Freaking idiots telling me all that shit.
Say an off-duty Pawtucket police officer shot an 18-year-old in the arm.
And reporter Kate Walsh is live in West Greenwich this morning with what we know so far about this incident. Kate.
Well, the West Greenwich police chief here didn't go as far as labeling this a road rage incident, but said everything seemed to have started on 95. Duty officer from Pawtucket Police Department noticed something, quote, bad, and then that led to getting off at exit 6 before the person was shot here on Route 3 or Nooseneck Hill Road here in West Greenwich. Take a look at your screen here. You can see the video of the scene last night. Chief Richard Ramsey said that this all ended here with a single shot fired, and Ramsey said it's believed the gun used was the officer's service weapon. The officer, again, was off duty at the time, but that's still being investigated. Ramsey said the teen was in his own vehicle when shot in the arm. The 18-year-old is now at Rhode Island Hospital this morning and in stable condition. The chief cautioned this is all still just in the beginning phases of the investigation.
There's a state attorney general's protocol that's enacted, which we enacted once the shooting took place. The state police are taking the lead on the investigation.
So he has to get out that they're in charge. State police, we're in charge.
The West Greenwich police are assisting in the investigation.
West Greenwich, they're just assisting. Okay, that's good, because we all need, state police need help.
And the attorney, as well as the attorney general's office.
The chief said the officer who was the off-duty officer involved in this is not hurt, but they're concerned about his well-being as this is, a situation that shakes someone up.
Oh, it shakes him up. He chases a guy at 125 when he's off duty. He's off duty. He's going home drinking a beer, and this shakes him up, having to chase kids down who are speeding and being kids. Granted, they're being stupid and they're going fast. Yeah. They could have. They might. Yeah, whatever. This cop deserves. I want to see him get prison. So we'll see. At least he's not going to be a cop. I'm pretty sure they're probably not gonna. Well, I don't know. Another agency may hire him if he gets out of these charges. Anyway, more earning the hate. So we'll see how this one plays out. But again, attorneys, DAs, AGs, Attorney General, state's attorney, district attorneys, they all have the ability to stop these cops from doing what they're doing. Limited immunity does not protect these cops from criminal charges. It only protects them from getting sued, and all that does is cost taxpayer money because they sue the agency, and the agency ends up paying taxpayer money. So, another earning the hate here for, what is this guy's name? Dolan, Daniel Dolan. Good job. You made earning the hate there, buddy. Y'all have a good one.